It's time for another 10-minute fun time composition romp. I've been composing this piece in a bunch of 10-minute sessions, and it's nice that folks seem to be enjoying watching the process and enjoying the videos. So thank you for the kind comments. It's very inspiring to get that kind of feedback, and yeah, I'm really excited to continue doing these. So in the first 10-minute session, we wrote this opening section. In the next 10-minute session, we wrote this remaining section, this whole thing. And then in the third session, we took 10 minutes to polish all this stuff up. And today, what we're going to do is add another section to this piece. My gut is telling me that the piece shouldn't literally start right here, but rather there should be some sort of intro that leads into this moment. So let's listen to what we have so far so we can talk about what that intro might be. Oh, it's 2:57, so we start the clock right now. Alright, great. So I've got till 3:07 to make an intro to this piece. So I'm going to start with 8 bars and see if that's enough space. Oops, I want to add 8 bars at the beginning. See if that's enough space for this intro. And my limitation today is I'm going to take one rhythm and use that rhythm in various ways to create a sort of minimalistic counterpoint texture that will build in waves up to this moment. So I want something that starts out little, that grows into this first moment here where everything comes in forte and strong. So I'm going to start just by noodling on the banjo here. Now it could be really difficult when you already have good sections to think of what should go in the next sections. And so I recommend approaching this with a similar kind of creative openness that we've been using for the very first sections, and then worrying about if they work and if they line up after you've heard them, after you've worked with them for a bit. Da da na, da na 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 na. Okay, so this is going to be our rhythmic figure. I'm going to make it 3 beats long, so that even though we're in 4/4, I'm going to make the figure 3 beats long so that there's a sort of over the bar line kind of floatiness to it. I'm going to loop it a few times here. And what I'm going to do now is take the figure and copy it into the piano, starting here. You'll notice they don't really line up because it's a 3-bar phrase. And so each time it's getting like offset a little bit. And that's going to be great because that's going to create counterpoint. I'm going to transpose this up an octave so that it's in a different range from the banjo at first. And I'm going to loop this guy on the piano as well. So I'll keep going here with the banjo looping as well. Alright, loop. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. Okay, and then loop again, and then loop again. Alright, so we'll see how that sounds in a second. And I want the violin to enter third, so I'm going to do long tones. So my goal is to create splashing waves that lead into this heavy part. So I want quiet. Just do that. See how that sounds. I just want quiet stuff that grows and swells and then becomes quiet again and then grows even more into here. That's what I mean by crashing waves. And by minimalist texture, I mean we're taking this one rhythm and juicing it for all it's got. Okay. Lots of juicing in music. So let's listen to what we have so far and see if it's any good. Well, that sounds pretty cool. It's very Zelda-ish. I'm going to turn the reverb off because it's making the, how do you do that again? It's making the notes less defined, and we don't really need reverb while we're writing. Ooh. That's pretty cool. I want this section to be really quiet, even though it's so high energy. I want it to be a bit more subdued because it's supposed to build into this heaviness, but it's not supposed to start out super strong. So I'm going to have everything be piano, and I'm going to have this violin be piano as well, actually, and then maybe I'll make this, nah, they're good if they're all the same volume. I think that works for this texture, but maybe I'll have these violins swell each time. So it's like, I'm not sure if you have to do this, but I'm gonna remind our player to play piano at the beginning of each of these swells so that it doesn't get misinterpreted as, oh, now we're bigger and we're gonna go even bigger, and then we're gonna go even bigger, but instead it's like start piano each time you swell bigger, and then you start back at piano again. Piano being the dynamic name for quiet, represented by these little P's right here. That means piano. Not to be confused with the instrument piano. Okay, so we've got little swelly things, and we want some waves happening, so we got to fill out some more measures. Let's see, what would happen now if I took this rhythmic figure and reversed it so that you've got didum and then bum, or whatever that sounds like. And yeah, let's see what that does for us. So I've already got one of these bedums, so I want one of these here, and then the last piece of the figure, like so. Put that here. Now I've got this reversed figure. Alright, so I'm going to loop that. And loop it again. And we'll loop it one more time. It should fit perfectly. Look at that. That's awesome. Alright, so now I want to save. Alright, and let's bring Mr. Piano back. Let's just keep the piano doing this. Something solid. So when you have one part that's moving around in a crazy way, it's sometimes desirable to have a static part that doesn't change to contrast it. And that's a good way to make a counterpoint. So let's listen. And then I'm going to have, my gut says, let's have the violin come back in right on this fourth beat of the seventh measure and swell hard into this. Let's see how that sounds. So create 6 beats, 3 beats of rest, and then it comes in on the fourth, and then it's going to come in on E, and then I want it to be, we're going to be jumping up to this high D. So I want to give the violin maybe a beat of rest right here, just so I don't forget to do that. Alright, so let's see, what note should it be? Let's see, E. It'd be cool if it was a fifth, and then we could have the open, let's have an open string in here. Let's see, we could do G, D, let's do the A. And then we'll tie. The reason I chose to do an open string in there is it gives the violin sound this really crunchy sound when you use open strings, because the open strings, sort of like on a guitar, when you play just an open string, it's kind of bright and harsh compared to when you fret it with your finger, because your finger softens it up with the fleshy material. And so by having the violin include an open string, it gives us a certain crunch that is definitely desirable in this moment. So I'm going to give this violinist a whole rest to get up there, and I'm going to swell like a crazy man all the way to that rest, and it's going to be PP. Super PP. Super PP. That means PP means pianissimo, which means extra quiet. And so then we're going to have this stop here. I'm going to actually have it swell all the way to forte, which makes this forte redundant, so I'm going to remove it. Maybe it's not redundant, actually. Maybe it's clarifying. Maybe it's just specific enough, but who knows? I don't have much time. I only have 1 minute left. Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh jeez. Okay. 1 minute left, and I want to make this great. So here we go. Let's listen again. Actually, we don't have time to listen if there's only 1 minute left. Let me just see if there's anything glaring. We could always come back to this in another section to clean it up, but and I want this da-da-da-da to be doubled. Okay. My final decision of the 10-minute session. Double this. And that should be good. Okay, now let's listen. Ha ha ha. Alright, honestly, I don't think that transitions very well, but I do like the content of this section. So maybe next time I'll find maybe another place to put this, or work on the transition, or change this section so that it goes into this better. But I did get a good productive 10 minutes here because we do have a very cool sounding section. It needs some work, but that's why we live more than 10 minutes. In future living, I will come back to this and improve it. But I hope that was interesting and that you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.